We're ready for your close-up, Dave.
Excuse me?
We're ready for your close-up.
Okay, great. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Morandi.
Here.
Trustee Early.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee Villotto. Here.
Thank you. We called the meeting, welcome everyone. We called the meeting to order at 6:30. We went to executive session immediately to discuss employment history of individual and came out at, what time did we close?
7:28.
7:28. Then we had to wait for Michael to set up, and now we're ready to go. So first thing on our agenda is the financial report.
As of the end of August, we've collected 97% of village taxes. Probably be about where we will be through January. Well, a couple stragglers will come in, but it won't really increase the total amount. And then the county will reimburse us for whatever we don't collect in February. Financial reports were a quarter of the way through, so I still think, like last month, we're on track with spending. A lot of the salary lines are are on track at 25%, maybe 23, 24 because of vacations and stuff like that. Some accounts are going to be 50% or 100% expended because it's just, we make annual payments, disability, other insurances, municipal dues, financial software, things like that. So while you might want to say everything should be at 25%, it can't be. Other than that, does the board have any specific questions on any accounts?
I have a question. It's just about Putnam County giving us that money. Do the people that are in arrears or whatever, do they now owe that money to the county?
Yes.
So they just take it over?
Yes, the county handles arrears collection.
Sorry, that's the only question.
Oh, that's okay. I don't have much other than, the reports are there, revenue, expenses, school tax for Howden isn't due now until October. We're getting new bills, so I pulled that from the batch before we got it. That's it. I sent an email. There's a grant coming due at the end of the week that we're probably not going to do this round. It's for clean water. So if we want to do any improvements, I spoke with superintendent. We'll probably do it next year if we need to make any improvements or adjustments to those facilities. Our engineers are on board with that too next year.
Sounds good. I think on the board.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, report police department.
Good evening, everybody. We had in August, the number of calls for service was 80, so it's been averaging between 73 and 80 most of the summer. For the year to date, we have 530 calls. In the month of August, we had 3 arrests. We had a unlicensed operator, 511, VTL 511. We had a unauthorized use of a vehicle. Was also an arrest in the village. Gentleman's daughter took the car and he asked for it back, and she didn't come back for 3 months. So we actually retrieved the vehicle, and he got the vehicle back, and she was arrested. We had a criminal mischief also in the village for a total number of 3 arrests for the month of August. We issued 43 moving summonses, 148 parking summonses, for a total of 191 for the month, and a grand total of 972 year to date. That's all I have on that.
One question before you go.
Okay.
The speeding, I don't remember what the other, the previous years are. You have 16 here for some reason. Is that normal or high or?
Oh, for the speeding?
Yeah.
The
Is that
speeding
where it's at? I can't remember.
per month, it averages anywhere between 12 and sometimes 20. It all depends. I mean, now that the school's open, it's gonna probably go up because the school zone goes, the speed goes down with the school being in session. It's about an average that we've been getting the last couple of months with the new officers on and some other things. Guys are out there, trying to make the village safer with speeders. So I know there's a big issue. There was a couple of issues with commuters in the morning racing to the train. I mean, that guys have addressed that. They have been pulling over commuters and motorists going fast going down the village. So that could be also what we're looking at. Everything else seems to be kind of on, about what we regularly get. The traffic, the accidents have been a little low for the month of August, which is good. I mean, we had an uptick at the beginning of the summer with the more tourists coming in. So that's about average what we're doing. Going forward, a few things that are coming up that the village board has to either accept or decline. There's a car club I was notified by, I can't remember her name, Mrs. Kadi, I think her name is. She requested that I block off, or the village, if they okay it, to block off some spots in front of the coffee shop across the street. They're having like a car club. They'll come in for an hour in the morning, and then I think they're going upstate, and then they'll be coming back through in the afternoon. And they wanted to do it like another hour and a half in the afternoon. My suggestion to her, if the village accepts them to have a no parking, I would do it on Fair Street. This way none of the businesses or any of the residents would be disturbed. I wouldn't have to block off 12 spots. They're saying it's going to be an average of about 12 cars.
And it's a weekday, right?
Yeah, so like I think it's a Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. So we normally do that for the church.
Oh, okay.
I would block off, I'd have my day tour guide block off the right-hand side going northbound for probably half the block from Main to Fair. This way they're off out of the way, we can still get traffic back and forth, and I will make sure that they stay there, they maintain there to get traffic back and forth unless a job comes up and they'd have to leave.
So you're not gonna put up a do not enter sign?
I don't think we have to. If it's a suggestion by the board, I can certainly do that.
You're talking from Maine to Northern?
I would go Main, if you're gonna let them, she said there's gonna be, most will be 12 cars. So you figure if I let them start from right at the corner, they probably go about a little more than halfway down the block. So that would be right where we'd normally close the side street off to a one-way during the church hours on Sunday. I can put the signs up if it makes it easier. That would control the traffic if one of my guys had to go to a job, though. It might be, take some time.
To put up the do not enter at Northern.
We do the regular Sunday setup. I would
Gotcha.
do the one way going that way and do not enter on Northern and Fair. So
Yeah.
you'd have to just go up and come around one of the sidewalks.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, she said I think it was gonna be somewhere, right around 9:30 to 11, and then I would open everything up again, and then from, I think it was 1:30 to 3:30.
Can we, that's on.
I know there's an application, I think there's an application there, so it should be on the agenda.
Can we vote on that now?
Sure, we can vote on it then.
At least this one's not issued. So it's the Kadima Kusing.
If you have it, you can read it.
Okay.
I'm not finding it.
As I mentioned on the phone on October 2nd, 2019, Wednesday, we're hosting a driving event and plan to have two groups of people driving through Cold Spring, New York. One group in the morning and one group in the afternoon. During our drive, we are planning to stop at one of the coffee shops on the main street for a coffee/snack break. Ideally, we would like to permit the parking spots on Main Street between Garden and Fair Street. Please let me know if this is possible in the process to obtain this permit. I look forward to hearing from you. So your alternative suggestion is Fair Street, which is the least impactful to the merchants. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the request for parking at Fair Street.
second,
Any further discussion?
Do we want to make the street one way?
and, yeah, make it.
Am I gonna do, let me close it like I do on Saturday night and Sunday for the
Yes.
third?
Yeah.
Do one way and maybe we can somehow notify the neighbors. So, I don't know. And if we do have people starting to park there, you think just everyone will start parking there and there won't be?
That would be an issue. That's why I'll make sure that the day tour officer knows what's going on. Hopefully stay in the area until, she said they were only gonna be stopping for, half an hour, 40 minutes tops.
And they're all together in a parade kind of?
It's gonna be whoever drives slower, quicker. I don't know if it's an older vehicle or a newer vehicle, if they didn't really explain that to me, if it was gonna be, antique vehicles or anything like that. I'll get more information from her, and then I will figure it out, and definitely, yeah, I don't want, all of a sudden you have the whole blocks being parked on, and we think that's something we gotta look into.
So are you gonna keep it closed for the whole day, or are you gonna open it at 11 and reclose it?
I would open it back up again for a couple hours. I mean, it's just easy enough to put down a sign, we'll just put them off to the side as we usually do.
Do we charge a permit fee for this?
No, there's no permit.
We don't have. Okay, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll ask Jeff if he can notify the Fair Street residents.
Okay.
I'll ask Jeff if he can notify Fair Street residents.
I put in a request for something, I don't know if you guys are gonna have to bring that up, for something for my vehicles to hardwire the police vehicles.
It's on the list, yeah.
You guys gonna do that?
It's
Okay.
Magazino's also gonna be here, so if you're around, they're coming around 8, so
Yeah,
we'll
cool.
get you in there.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see, we don't have anything from Recreation Commission, we have nothing from Planning, Zoning Board, no new business, no old business, and no current business. Let's see, Town of Phillipstown, not here. Historic District Review. Current applications in August, we held two very full sessions. We reviewed applications for 13 Stone Street, 33 Market Street, 124 Main Street, 20 The Boulevard, 15 Main Street, 2123 High Street, 207 Main Street, 6 Paulding Avenue, 138 and 140 Main Street, and 61 Chestnut Street. We reviewed and approved the signage applications for 72 Main Street, Kismet, and we reviewed and approved the signage application for the New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital at Butterfield, Building 2, as well as signage for the other commercial and residential building. We met with the Butterfield team further in 2 workshop sessions to review design changes on Building 4, 5, 6. For our September monthly meeting on 9/11, we have received new requests for review at 124 Main Street and 5 Railroad Avenue, as well as Butterfield Buildings 4, 5, 6. The town has provided the board with a set of drawings for the renovation of Town Hall. However, we have not received an application for the work, as the town board has declared itself exempt from our review. Board work projects and notes. This summer reviewed 2 projects, both presented by River Architects, that address modernization of historic buildings in our changing climate in 2 very different and we feel successful ways. 15 Main Street between the train tracks and the river will be modified internally to raise the floor and protect the building against future flooding. 2123 High Street, on the other hand, will be re-insulated from the outside to better weatherproof the structure and increase energy efficiency. In both cases, the effects on the historic fabric design and overall appearance of the buildings will not suffer as a result of these updates. We look forward to seeing these projects executed, and we hope they offer encouraging examples to other residents of how historic buildings can remain relevant in the pursuit of climate change resilience.
Yes.
Nothing from the fire company. Tree advisory, I don't think we have anything, which leaves us with Marie, code update.
Some of the members of the Code Update Committee met twice in August. A quorum was not obtained for either meeting. The month of August was spent in continued review of Chapter 134, zoning, for consistency and clarity. In September, and this was the report that was written at the end of August, in September, the Code Update Committee will conduct the 5th and last public meeting to review the full set of recommended changes to the village code. During the month of September, the CUC will develop a schedule for the remaining activities in 2019. The August conference call with NYSERDA was conducted. No issues were raised by NYSERDA. An update to this. The 5th public meeting will occur on October 2nd at the Firehouse, starting at 7 p.m. By next Wednesday, which would be the 18th of September, I expect to have all of the modified code chapters available on the village website. There'll be two different files. The first file will contain the red line version of each of the chapters that are being modified, and the second folder will contain the draft version, which means the red lines have been accepted on, in that folder. Comments, questions can be submitted at any time. The public meeting on October 2nd will be held open for 30 days to give people adequate time to read all of the chapters on the website and provide any comments. Any questions on that? Doug, I'm hoping, and Mike, I'm hoping to send a document to both of your publications to provide additional information about what is going to happen at the public meetings and what the topics were, when the topics were reviewed, etc. I hope to have that done in a couple of weeks, within a week, so that it can be published by your papers. That's it.
Marie, I'm sorry, the documents will be up online next week, you said?
Yep, that's right, next Wednesday. There are approximately 30 chapters that are being modified.
Okay, water, wastewater.
Right, for the month of August, we did 9.61 million gallons to the system after 310,000 a day. It's an increase from 7.2% from last year's accumulation. All the bacteriological and drinking water parameter testing came back acceptable. The reservoirs, due to lack of substantial rainfall, has dropped an additional 5.75%. We did have one discolored water complaint from one Adams, where we went there and took a look at everything, analyzed the sample that was obtained. Everything came back within good standards. It's still under investigation of what could be the possible cause, but it seems to be an isolated incident, as we haven't received any more discolored water complaints from that area or in the rest of the system. Blue-green algae sampling. Putnam County Health Department contacted us last week, said that we have been potentially selected for a New York State study on blue-green algae. If we are, they'll be sending out sample bottles to collect the raw water source and send it to Albany for analysis. It should last about a month and a half if we are selected. Secondary operations licensing, recommended that we bring aboard Ryan Carroza as a backup operator now that Joe Myers has ended his run with us at the end of August. I'm not sure if that was approved or not.
That's on the agenda.
That's on the agenda.
Okay. And there's been no progression on the Catskill DEP project since last meeting.
As I think I contacted you, did that I don't know if it's their engineer or whoever contacted you, or maybe I guess he was contacting Bart, not you, so never mind. Been working, they have a couple new guys there, I think, or whatever. So.
Not too much on the wastewater side of things. Everything came back good with the monthly analysis for August. The sludge dewatering pilot studies that were done, like Michelle said, it's kind of an in-between thing, trying to find out exactly how much we're going to be wasting a day to pick the proper unit for the application, but I think we are going to need a little bit more time for that. I think that's all I got.
The reservoir, I know you're doing this, so maybe this is an unfair question. The status of the capacity in the reservoir compared to past years, is that?
That I haven't looked back to see where we were at last month or last August, but I could definitely look into that and see where
Yeah,
we're
you
at.
can take a look or whatever. Sometimes it feels like we're getting a lot of rain and we really haven't. And,
No, it was 1.3 for the month of August, but it was, 0.1 here, 0.2 the next week, but it really wasn't anything substantial that would have created runoff to fill up the reservoirs after using it.
Right, okay.
How'd it go with the cleanup from that automobile that went in the?
The wounds are still in place just because it hasn't been rectified, and once that is, then they're able to be taken out, but they are still in place.
How do we test to determine the?
Well, we tested right after the incident happened, and everything came back good, so it wasn't making its way downstream. Everything had been collected in the booms. It's just basically waiting for the insurance to process it further.
So they'll remove those booms and then test the water again?
I'm not sure if they'll make it test the water again, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. But I'll definitely bring it up with the county and see if that's what they want us to do.
That's who's responsible in the county for that?
Yeah, pretty much they would tell us.
So
that
it's their road?
Oh, no, I was talking about the county health department. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right, sorry.
But the village itself is paying for this, or insurance companies?
I believe, yes, it's the insurance companies, and I think Dutchess and Putnam Hazmat were the entities that supplied the booms and everything else are in place, so that's where the insurance would come back to make sure that they're restocked up on the supplies they used.
Yeah.
No, that's it, thank you.
The level of the reservoirs, do we need to put on some kind of conservation?
I mean, without any real past experience, I mean, it's kind of hard to gauge, and it's just down about almost 5.5% from last month, so.
Maybe for next meeting or whatever, if you let me know.
Oh, yeah,
Talk with
definitely.
Scott, and you guys can, or whatever, just see where it's at.
Yep.
Let us know. If we have to, we can bring it up and
Right.
make an announcement.
Definitely
We're
can.
on voluntary now, right?
I believe that's
That
was
was
the last thing
done-
that Greg said at his
Right.
last meeting, correct?
We're on voluntary, so it's watering only in the morning and the evening, outdoor use of water only in the morning and the evening. So it seems like the next step would be
Right.
no outdoor water
Right.
use.
Yeah, but once I get some more data on the reservoirs and how they've been riding through the summer, I can definitely answer that for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Also, Steve, I think they replaced the guardrails.
Yes, that was it.
So if you think there's something, I don't know where you guys need to get in, if you think we need to put something extra there behind or
Well, it
whatever.
definitely looped out a little bit further now, so it's got a little bit more protection than it currently had beforehand, so.
But they ripped right through it, so I don't know if we need to put something more substantial behind it, maybe, or even if we bring some big rocks or something. If you think it's needed, I don't know.
Well, it was the first time in 22 years.
Yeah, I guess.
I'd like to say it would be the last time,
It
but.
doesn't happen a lot.
Right now, but all it has to do
No,
is happen once.
Yep, you're
You won't
100%
be
right.
very happy with the results on that. If that car had ripped the oil pan or.
Right.
So following up on this, there's the recommendation from Matt to bring in Ryan Carrozza, or no, to bring in, let's see, it's recommended at this time that we bring Ryan Carrozza on the same salary that Joe Myers, North Dome Ops, $200 a month, was receiving for the role as backup operations provider. As Matt said, Myers is no longer with us, so we definitely need someone. So I'll make a motion to approve hiring of Ryan Carrozza as the backup operators at same salary as Myers North Dome were receiving.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
Building department, what do we have here? I guess this is that. Ryan Carrozza. I got it. Yeah, I didn't think through that. Okay, building department, activities, new building permits, 11. Building permits issued, 6. Operating permits issued, 0. Dumpster permits, 1. COs, 5. Record searches, 4. Complaints received, 4. Referrals generated, HDRB was the only one, and they had 6. Fees, applications and permit fees was $750. Record search fees, $300, and other fees, $30, for a total of $1,080. Highway Department.
Good evening, folks. For the month of August, we had 49.08 tons of garbage. Recycling for the month was 17.83 tons. We poured a 50-foot of curb on Oak Street to alleviate some flooding issues we had in the basement. We repaired 5 sections of curb and a vacant telephone pole hole on Main Street while doing pavers. We painted 4 X's on Kemble Avenue to stop people from parking where a bush constantly keeps growing in front of the sign, which I have to get to moving the sign to in front of the bush. Let's see, we also we repaired a 6-foot section of sidewalk at 190 Main Street where people were having issues from the tree roots, had heaved it and sunk in spots, so we pulled it and put a cold patch sidewalk in, and it seems to be working very well. We ground down trip hazards on Mountain Avenue, Cedar Street, Locust Ridge, and Orchard Street for the upcoming school year. We started trimming trees that hang out into the streets. And we installed pavers in front of Catherine's, the Highland Current, and in front of C&E Paint. We realigned bent doors on the 97 Ford F-350. We did a complete service of the zero turn. We repaired the pull cord mechanism that was stripped off the actual, what I guess you would call the axle of it, on the plate tamper, and we rebuilt the governor on the small Honda generator because it wasn't generating enough power to operate even a simple circular saw.
Thank you. I think we have a lot of compliments on the pavers. Not that they make it to you, but we definitely.
Thank you.
And please tell your department, they look great, right? Everybody loves them.
Absolutely.
I will. Thank you very much.
That section, the curb on Oak Street, didn't we have that done to alleviate that?
We did up above it by the driveway, and then the water was coming down and then coming back in from
Yeah,
the.
I mean, we had someone else do it last year.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was either Roger or
It was
Granite.
It was Granite.
We still have an issue up there, which I will discuss with you tomorrow, Dave.
Yeah.
I'd like some advice and
We might need to do a little sidewalk redo.
a little sidewalk issue, yeah.
Dennis wants to know.
Doing that. Backs up also. There's a couple issues.
Like I
There's a
said,
lot of water coming down there off of, it comes from everywhere.
It comes from a lot of places. Some of them I don't care to discuss right here in the meeting, but like I said, I'll discuss with Dave tomorrow to get a fuller picture of what is actually going on up there.
Okay, next Justice Court, fines, forfeited bails, and civil penalties, 2,800, parking tickets, 5,055, civil fees, 210, mandatory state surcharges, 1,756, for a total of $9,821. Let's see, I do have the, or that's down the line. And then we have anything from the board and mayor, and we'll move along. Fran, do you want to bring up the payments, this tax issue?
Let me. It came to my attention last night as I was looking at Facebook, thank you, Doug, that there was a mess up on the school taxes, that the school tax bills sent out by, I guess the county who sends these out, were incorrect. And so at this point, M&T Bank is not accepting any tax payments. If you go to pay your taxes, your school taxes, they'll give you a little notice, and we have some copies here, which basically says the tax bills were wrong, they're going to be reissued. The new ones coming in will be yellow so that you'll know the difference. And that the due dates on them will be October 7th, I think, for the first partial payment, and the full payment or the final payment by October 21st. The error seems to be somewhere in the veterans exemptions, which I think in a lot of cases cause the veterans' bills to be much lower than they should be. But I believe from what I've seen, like looking at other things, it wasn't just the veterans' bills. So the county is anyway issuing all new bills for the school taxes. They will say corrected, supposedly they'll be in yellow and they'll be coming out shortly. So if you have a school tax bill and you've paid it, if it was too little, you'll have to pay the rest. If it was too much, I guess you will get either a credit. I doubt that they'll send you money back, but they may give you a credit. If you have not paid it, the bank will not accept it. At this point, they'll only accept them against the new bills. So that's all I have. And there's a couple of flyers here, which I got from M&T Bank and those are the ones they didn't know.
Do you need me for anything else?
What's that?
Do you need me for anything?
No.
I'm gonna head on. I gotta drop my truck off at the mechanics.
Okay. There was, you might want to say, I can get to the next one quickly. It's discussion on paving winter parking. I
Okay.
don't think I discussed that with you, I met with Carl. So anyway, I'll jump to that and then we can go back to whatever. But Where we have winter parking right now along the boulevard, which is running parallel with the boulevard east to west, the people are parking in the grass there, and then when there's snow or whatever, then they're parking farther out in the road, and there's been problems there where people don't want to pull into the grass and they're parking into the road. So there's been a number of complaints. Anyway, I was talking to Supervisor Shea. They'll be moving their operations to down to the VFW, and asked if there could be some parking for them down there that's, you know, designated for them. So I recommendation or suggestion that we pave that area that's now grass along the fence. Our property line is the fence, and I contacted Ken Carney and asked him to make sure on that. So he said, you know, he had his engineers send me back an email saying that indeed the fence was the property line. So my idea is to, and I met with Carl, and Phillipstown will pay for this as part of their, you know, their budget for the remodel, to pave the grass area up to the fence, or maybe a foot back or whatever, and then we can line that, or they can line it, that we can designate so many parking spots for them, and then once they're no longer there, it'll be winter parking, and this will keep everyone off the road. Right now the road's really wide, as you know, so there's plenty of room actually if people park right. So this way we would be able to have bumpers for the front so that they can stop, put diagonal parking in, and keep them off the road.
We can also go down and clear out better.
He said we could take the fence down if we wanted to. Ken did it.
But we can definitely go down and make sure we keep it cleared. Once cars start moving, get down there, pick it up, and just remove it from there. How far are you looking to pave on both sides?
Up to that pole, just up to the pole from the corner. We'll probably leave the corner area where the pole is and stuff. We'll have to get a couple of bollards for the fire hydrant.
There's a fire hydrant there, you know.
Yeah, there is, and this is a running joke. And then also going up to the, right now there's a sign on that one pole.
On the one pole, correct.
So we go up to there.
Okay.
And there's probably 16 feet almost to the fence, so that's enough for a car in itself. So that would keep them totally off.
Okay, I'll also talk to the resident who lives across the street, because they push their snow out across the street,
Right.
which ends up over what would now be parking.
And I think we need some signs having no parking on that side of the street.
Okay.
That will give them even more space. They don't use that on that side, do they? Don't?
There's a few.
Rarely.
There's one car that's probably been sitting there a good 4 or 5 months now.
Oh, you mean going down further? Or
Yeah,
not in front of-
Kemble.
Going down the boulevard.
Oh, yeah. No, on the boulevard.
On the boulevard?
Are you talking paving the boulevard side or
Yes.
Kemble side?
The boulevard side.
Boulevard, there is one car that's been there quite a while.
Toward the fence or toward Main Street? On which side of the boulevard?
The south side of the boulevard.
He's talking about parking along the north side. People don't use it very often. But we want to put no parking signs there so that people.
Okay, the Percocello residence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody parks there, right?
Okay, yeah, now.
Just-
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So if you want to touch base with Carl, I can, you know, I just wanted to discuss, is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, they'll be paying for it.
It's a great idea.
I think it'll clean up that area and make some people happy down there.
One question, why do we have no parking closest to Kemble? That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
No parking where?
There's no parking from some point on the, I always get confused on the boulevard. From the corner of Kemble and the boulevard, going toward Forge Gate, there's an area where there's no parking. Why do we have no parking there?
On which side of the street?
On the fence side of the street.
On the fence side, the
Yeah.
south side of the street.
Yeah, I don't understand why there's no parking.
I was there today, it seems, I mean, that street is very wide there, but when you're driving towards Kemble, the stop line is really over to the grass, and maybe we just need to, you know, divide the street, move the street a little bit the other direction. I mean, it's wide enough.
We're not gonna move the street.
No,
You want to move something else.
We want to, that stop line that's at the end, just at Kemble, it's very short, it's near the grass, and it gives you the impression that that's the aisle for you to drive. Or maybe if we pulled it out a little bit or moved that line over a little bit, because it's more than wide enough to, you know, I mean, I was there today and I looked at it and I'm like, Why is it so far over? It makes it look like that's a very narrow lane coming up to Kemble.
I'll look
against
into
the
why
grass.
there's no parking. One suggestion might be that maybe it was a second exit entrance from the Marathon property years ago.
No.
Okay, then, like I said, for
Sorry,
16
I take-
years it's been no parking, I don't know why.
I take it back, the admin building was immediately behind the fence, and there was probably a driveway in that area, but God, that's a long time ago.
Takes us a long time to change things.
It's all grass now.
Yeah, I mean, it does, if it's not necessary, let's pave it, except for the fire.
Except for the fire hydrant, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I don't think we need a motion on that, or should I?
No.
Okay. One other thing, well, maybe a couple things. Next Tuesday, we're having a special meeting, workshop meeting at the firehouse. You don't need to be here. You can stay, you're welcome. But there'll be a special meeting at the firehouse to discuss short-term rentals. The topic came up, what's that?
To receive input.
Well, we're gonna also might say a few words. I don't wanna eliminate that totally. It's not just gonna be on, I think we have to lay, anyway. She derailed me for a second.
Sorry.
So
Get
the
back on
idea was,
track.
in our last meeting, the topic came up, and there was a lot of conversation about it. Wasn't reported on, but it was, quite a bit of it happened between the board. My feeling is, and Marie's also working on the code update, and this is part of the changes, which will be law. I'm not sure, no matter how much information you get out there, people don't see it till the last minute. It's the way it is, that's the norm. So I wanted to hold another meeting where people could come and discuss the issue. So it's an issue that's throughout the United States. I don't know if it's in other countries, but definitely across the country and in cities, big and small. So I wanted to get the input from people, and have people give them a chance to come in and tell us their experiences, and we can go from there. I think the information will be valuable for us and for the CUC. The final legislative approvals come from this board, so I think it's important that we hear from everybody, and I think there should be, I have a feeling, a lot of people at the meeting. So anyway, it's 7:30 next Tuesday at the firehouse. We also, one other quick thing, I'll give this out, I don't need any, we don't need to discuss it tonight, but from P&D we did get a number back for repairing the floor in the firehouse. They're suggesting what they would do instead of breaking this all up is that they can shoot concrete in. There's a company that does it, they're familiar with their work, so what they do is they might have bore a few holes into the slab that's there, and then they inject the concrete under it, and it actually can raise the floor to almost level, they said, in spots. Right now there's voids and it's sinking, so there's sections of it that aren't great. It's not like a huge hazard right now, but it's definitely not optimal. Their total cost, and I didn't get this, I just got this tonight, is $20,000 and change. So I'll give this out to you. I'll talk to Michelle about it, and we can discuss it at the next meeting, or on the last meeting of the month.
And where do we stand relative to the boiler?
Oh, the boiler, okay. The boiler, we have not gotten any estimates back on, but the P&D did give out the specs for it. Jimmy Padala did catch a number of problems with it, and the sizing and how different areas were gonna be serviced. So they're coming up with different specs because of his feedback. So they should get that shortly, and we'll, get it to people again. But
What's the price range?
I have no idea.
No.
I haven't gotten anything back from any,
Okay.
so I don't know.
A lot.
What's that?
A lot.
Like, could be,
I mean, we're talking six figures or five?
we're talking at least 10,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Somewhere
So we're
around 10 to
five
15.
figures. Oh, easy.
That's easy, we can do it.
Yeah, I'll write the check right now.
Is there anything else from the board?
Just
Any
say
update on
I
the,
gave everyone at your places some information on the picnic. what we have, what we still need. If you have contacted anyone else, please let me know. We need to sort of wrap this up so that we can go to Sam's Club next week and buy what we have not yet received. So at this point,
Fran,
it's-
I don't.
sorry,
Was it in
I think it was a
here?
separate handout.
it's 3 pages and it starts out with a copy of an email. It's separate, right? It's a separate sheet. Voila. So if I missed anything, let me know. If you've asked anyone else, we have done exceptionally well this year, especially with gift certificates and all that'll be noted in particular.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along to Larry's request, which I'm not going to table, but I don't think we should make it. I'd like to get a little more info on this before we vote on it. But and Larry can tell us more about it. But it's a request for funds to hardwire 2 police vehicles for internet service. Approximate amount is $5,000. But you could just let us know why or how that works or what we're actually going to.
Right now, every police department hardwires their car, so basically your modem is in each police vehicle. That's what they do. Basically, it's for security reasons also, that nobody can hack into your system for such things that we rely on the state to do driver's licenses and registrations. Right now, we're using what we call a jetpack system, which is a mobile, almost like your phone, that I have to put into each car every time an officer starts a shift. So when I get off at 4 o'clock, say in the afternoon, that jetpack goes out of one vehicle and the other officer has to take that and put it in the other vehicle. In the past, we've had that jetpack break down, and by the time I get a new one and have it replaced, sometimes it's up to a week, which means none of my guys can get on an internet service, which we can't run plates, we can't run anything for vehicles being pulled over. Also, now that we have 2 of the vehicles wired with the dash cams in them, when we go to download the videos up to the substation to the sheriff's office where they store all our data for all the vehicle stops, we have to go off our system because of the jetpack, and it has to. It's a conflict with their internet service and ours, and it takes a substantial amount of time to do that, and then download the videos from that you used during that day. So if you did 3 or 4 car stops and they're all on video, you go and you download them. What normally would hopefully take 5 to 6 minutes is now taking 15 to 20. It's having issues with also our firewall and our safeties in our vehicles doing that. By hardwiring the vehicles, this means they'll have their own internet service, and they'll be able to do that instead of relying on that jetpack. Because also when you put the jetpack in the car, the jetpack is like a cell phone. If you don't use it, like if you don't connect to the internet for half hour, it'll shut itself down to save the battery, the life of the battery. So in doing that, by the time it reboots to our system and reboots to the internet, you're wasting another 15, 20 minutes.
Does this also enable you to do electronic ticketing, or we do everything
Yes,
paper?
everything. When you turn around and we say if I write 3 or 4 speeding summonses in my shift, I have to come here, I have to download it from the laptop, has to go through the system, through the internet, through the jetpack, up into our system, so it will accept it. Once it accepts it, then it goes down, it shoots up to Albany, then it comes down, and the Clark Kathy will get it a day later, and she'll get the readout of everything that we do. So that's all internet, whatever we use the internet, that's 911 calls, ticketing, report writing that we can do in the car. If we didn't have it in the car, we'd have to wait till the end of the shift and have an officer upstairs, take 15, 20 minutes to do the reports in the computer upstairs itself. And like I said, it was a way, years ago it was a way of trying to save a little bit of money, which I understand, but now it's getting to be archaic. I would like all 4 cars done, but I talked to Michelle with the budget that we have now. I do have in my budget that I was trying to maneuver some stuff around that she said I could probably use to get 2 cars hardwired. This way they're done, and as we get a new vehicle, they can take that unit and put it into the new car.
You guys are comfortable voting on this tonight?
No.
Yes.
1 no?
No.
Yes.
More information?
no, I take his word for it.
Lynn?
I'm good.
What's that?
I'm good to vote on it tonight.
So in your budget, Michelle can
Any questions? Anthony's gonna be doing it, our IT maintenance team, so it's not like we're going outside anywhere to get anything else. He suggested it, and I spoke with Michelle on it. Again, it's not something that I just need, I just want because it's modern, it's something we really need at this point. As we go along, and as you know, updating all our systems, it gets quite expensive, but it's something that needs to be done. Because actually, from what Anthony told me, the system that we're using now, even to put security on it, it would be lacking as we're going forward. That's the reason believe me, I could do other things with $5,000 for other stuff. I would, but I really feel we need this.
Is there additional
There will be an
fee
addition-
for service?
There will be an
Like
additional
ongoing
monthly
fees?
charge. Right now, from what I understand from Michelle, we pay about $40 for the internet service for that jetpack. That's why we're saving money bouncing it from car to car to car. Now each vehicle will have its own internal jetpack seg. So now you're up for the 2 cars, instead of being $40 a month for the service, I think it's gonna jump to either 60 or 70. I haven't talked to Michelle on that yet.
Per car.
For the 2 cars. No, for the 2 cars.
And then you still have the jetpacks for the other 2 cars.
We will have the jetpack for the other 2 cars, and as I said, as going forward, if we can, I'd like to replace that and totally get away from the jetpack itself.
So $60 for both cars?
I believe so. It's anywhere between, I have to double check on that again, between 60 and I think it was 60 and 80.
So can you have Anthony give us an estimate for doing it, or did he say around 5, or can you give us a number and then the cost of the?
We should have, I know he sent me an email, and I do believe Michelle has. If not, I will forward it to her on the exact cost. It could come out cheaper depending on the hour labor of putting it in. If it's an hour, 2 hours, he runs into a little bit of trouble, that will end up a little bit more.
What is the longevity of the device? I mean, is this
It's a modem, just like you have a modem in your house. Eventually, as the computer age gets, every 6 months, your computer's not new anymore, it's old. As it goes down the line, I can't give you 1 to 3 years, 1 to 5 years. I could say, talking to Anthony, I could probably say it would be good for at least 4 years, possibly 5. But as the systems go to the new 4G, 5G, and so forth, we may have to replace it. But if we do that, I could probably put that cost in when and if we do get new vehicles, we can put that into the price. And because it should be, when you order a car, everything that should be included in all the new vehicles, and that would go that route to replace it out.
Is this something, you get money every year, or you try to get a grant from, I think, Sue Serino? Is this something you think would?
I could
covered
probably,
by a
yeah,
grant?
there are technical grants out there that I have been looking into, so is Michelle. As of right now, contacting Sue Serino's office a couple of weeks ago, we did not make the cut for any grant monies last time around. I was very displeased with that. I worked hard on that with her, with her team, and going to the next budgeting that's coming up now, they'll start looking at requests I think this next couple of months for next year's budget, 2020. Hopefully they'll put us in. We used to get at least 2,500 for the 2 or 3 years that I've been here. We got 1,500 last year, and this year we got nothing. So it also goes with them, and I'm not going to speak for her, but from what my research, it goes on your crime too, because we report all our crime data upstate to Albany, and they look at that to see if we qualify for certain grants to fight crime, or say surveillance cameras and stuff like that. I am looking into going through Homeland Security, and also there's an agricultural grant that we may be able to get, one for the tourism. I'd have to prove to them how much tourism we get that comes in. With the boats coming in, that would push our numbers up for the year. And I could possibly get more surveillance cameras in the village that I've been looking to update, besides the couple that we have now. That's something I'm looking forward into probably the fall into spring, when they start to requesting it.
I have one more question
Sure.
about the new hardwired internet.
Mm-hmm.
As I understood the explanation before, the jetpacks, one of the reasons the cars need to stay idling is to keep power to the jetpacks.
And to keep the computer running, yes. And when you turn the computer down, the jetpack has to, when you start everything back up, it's got to search. And you kind of wait for it to catch up to attach to the jetpack. So it will, we could possibly, I'd have to ask Anthony if it would be easier to turn off the vehicles now, that we won't have the footprint that we've been talking about in the village for the last couple of years about guys having a car idle.
Yeah.
I try to explain to especially the officers, if they're going to be in the office for a substantial amount of time, make sure they turn the car off when they're up there, whether it be they know they're gonna be there writing reports or having their lunch hour, turn the cars off. So that's why we're kind of doing it that way, but we may be able to turn it down now where it will start right back up when we do that. That would be something definitely to look into.
But you have to look into that.
I just gotta ask Ed, it's a quick phone call, which I can make
So
tomorrow.
the quote that we have became invalid on July 24th, 2019, quote from Anthony.
Doesn't that, let me ask you, I mean, if we did this in 2 weeks, it's not gonna be the end of the world for you.
No.
Okay. We'll get it together and if whatever other information, or if we need an update on the, there's a date on this contract, so if we could change that, and we'll see what the cost will be for the service additional, so we know the whole package.
Yep.
Okay,
No problem.
all right, let's get it to sort
Yeah.
of 24th meeting, I think it's 24th. All right.
Not a problem. One quick other thing I did bring up earlier, I'd like to, with the board's permission, to put out an ad in the paper for a backup school crossing guard. As we're, you know, everybody, I'd like to have a backup. Right now, we don't have a steady backup. We have certain people that will fill in for us when the crossing guard has to call in sick or they're out and can't make it in. I'm trying to just get a backup, couple of people that I can kind of rely on and say, listen, I need you for the next couple of days or just tomorrow or whatever. If we could put that out in both papers, if I can request some funds for that.
I'm good with that. Make a motion to allow Larry to advertise for a part-time crossing guard.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Marie, aye or no?
No, sorry, yes.
Okay, next we have a proposed event by Magazzino. We have Vittorio Calabrese. Give the presentation. How are you?
I'm good. Good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity, Mayor, trustees. It's actually my first time presenting directly to you, and I'm very, I'm very honored and a little bit nervous as well because it's Magazzino is 2 years old now, and we feel like we accomplished so much working together with the town, village, and this is an opportunity to really present the project that we had in mind in the last that we've been talking about for the last year. That we would love to do it in collaboration with you. So as I think the last presentation, this project is a project by an Italian artist, Marinella Senatore. Marinella Senatore is an artist from the south of Italy that is based in Rome, but she's been doing projects involving communities, especially social engagement throughout like the globe. In the U.S. she did a solo show at the Queen's Museum. She's been working with communities from South Africa to Brazil to New York City to the suburbs of metropolis in Italy as well. And we invited her to actually look at our community and look at Cold Spring. Actually Phillipstown, but in the core really Cold Spring, which is the town that hosts us. So we invited Marinella to do an exploratory study on what the community of Cold Spring is, and to find a way and to give us a proposal about a performance that would engage with the local community. We pretty much did this extremely deep research already about all the creative and not necessarily creative communities, from book clubs to gardening groups to singers to dance groups and musicians and actors, and she came out with a proposal that was to actually create and direct a procession. I'm speaking about procession and not parade because it's a performance piece, it's an artwork that she's gonna create, and the procession will pretty much be in the same lines of a parade, but will include 100 participants. There will be people that she will invite through Magazzino. Magazzino is the only and sole organizer of the event. I mean, we'll pretty much support the artists and the expenses, the costs of everything related to the project as well. The proposal really goes in this way. She would love to have a group of people from St. Mary's, the church, going down on Main Street and arrive to the gazebo. 100 people would be active performers, and that means that pretty much those individuals will join pretty much the artists for musical performance, or for poetry reading, or for singing, or for we're looking at a marching band potentially, and really everything sourced in a way, inviting the community. The time that she proposed was from 12:30 to 3 max, in the sense that that will pretty much be the range. I would, to be 100% comfortable, I would say 12:30 to 3:30, but it doesn't mean that we would ask you to shut down the entire Main Street. The performance will pretty much like walk down Main Street, and we'll be able to clear pretty much like Main Street as soon as we pass by. So I think the most, I would say, in a way, complicated place, I think, for blocking traffic, I think, will be mostly around the gazebo, but definitely not here on Main Street, because we'll start from pretty much up here, and then we'll slowly, we estimate in 40 minutes, we'll pretty much be at the end of Main Street on the upper part, and then going around the trucks, and then pretty much having an hour in the area around the gazebo. So, so I think that was an important aspect that I think, you know, unfortunately, until we really involved and we get the approval for this kind of project, we haven't started really inviting the participants. So the specific kind of performances and the specific aspects of the project will be pretty much like decided as soon as we can start pretty much like talking to those groups. I know another issue was actually the parking for the performers, and a place where we can gather all those 100 people that will be the active performers. We're very open to any solution there. I know we were speaking about maybe using a parking lot of Haldane, or we definitely don't wanna, or ask for doing something like this, but we definitely don't want all the performers to park on Main Street and to pretty much like block all the traffic of you know, customers or visitors that will come to Main Street. I know it's Saturday. It's going to be a Saturday, and it's going to definitely be a busy Saturday because of the foliage and.
What's the date again?
It's the 16th of November.
Okay.
Maybe we won't have leaves anymore. Hopefully, we'll still have. No.
No.
Okay.
No
Well, so less people, so we'll bring more people than we can. We really try to advertise this as much as possible locally, and of course, like, you know, throughout channels like internationally and in New York. So we expect a very good turnout. The artist is very famous, but also she's used to work with communities, and she really shares a new kind of approach towards contemporary art, which is very inclusive. That's why we decided to invite her, and then we've been talking about this project throughout some, you know, throughout the networks, and we have a magazine, and we're happy to really work it out with you in any possible way in terms of any kind of critical points that we are there.
As the procession, parade, whatever we want to call it, goes down the street, are there places where it will stop, or are the performances
So there
moving?
will be some stops that she envisions. We're very happy to work it out together. You know, there are some people, let's say if there's a string quartet, they cannot really walk and doing that, but every mini kind of, let's call it, performance will last 3 minutes, and there will be several throughout.
So the parade would, like, if they were the, like, say the string quartet was the fourth group in the parade, the parade would stop, and that
We'll
performance would
stop,
happen.
yeah, and then people will gather, and then we'll all keep going down.
Okay.
I'm happy to really review this with time frames too, about, like, you know, how soon we can clear it out, because I know how sensitive, like, the issue is with blocking Main Street. Absolutely, like, you know, we're open to work it out with the artists, but myself working out with you what's the best way to actually avoid any issue for business and for public safety, but actually for everyone to make it work.
I would just recommend, you know, including the business community too, because most of the business owners I know are pretty creative people as well.
I was thinking about doing a presentation for the chamber about this, but we're definitely going to reach out to everyone. But thank you. We'll definitely.
I mean, just look at the windows that people do. I mean,
No.
you know, they all create those.
The
So
result
I
of
think
this,
you could probably get a lot of buy-in that way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm happy to even like present this to each of them. But one of the, and this is beyond, I think, where we the request. I think one of the most incredible, like I would say, experience for us in relation to this event, that the artist had no idea how strong the creative community here is in Cold Spring. I think she had absolutely no idea that artists, poets, and singers, dancers, this community is just incredible, way beyond, I would say, like Magazzino in our little like establishment there. But there's a strong community, and you know, she's eventually going to be the one picking who's actually active, but everyone will be involved. Everyone will be invited personally by us, and yes.
So, originally I thought that the concept was to invite groups or organizations
Yes.
to participate in the procession. So, the Haldane Band, just
Yes.
as an example, which is probably got 20 or 30 people in it,
Yes.
I'm guessing. Are they, is that number of 20 to 30 people included in the 100 people in the procession?
I haven't reached out to Haldane yet until we have this conversation with you. You're the first ones I talked to about this, but we definitely, Haldane is the first marching band that we reach out to, and that would be include like the full 30 people. When we're looking at 100, it's the max number of people that are going to participate. So marching bands will definitely have the highest numbers, but then we're looking at getting maybe an opera singer local in Cold Spring to participate. For example, there will be one person. Let's say there's a group of people doing percussions. In that case, there will be 3 or 4. We're capping 100 as pretty much the scope and the scale of the event that needs to be choreographed. But yes, 30 people okay.
So my primary concern is for those streets that are one-way going into or out of Main Street. People that reside on those streets will be unable to get to their homes or leave their homes for the period of time when the parade is going on. And on a Saturday, I think that is a terrible inconvenience for those people. And now High Street I don't worry about because it's too late. People can make U-turns. But Church Street, Furnace Street, Garden Street, Campbell Avenue, Rock Street, Stone Street, those are the streets that I'm concerned about. That people will not, they'll be held hostage on their street until the parade passes by. They'll have no options to go anywhere.
I don't know in terms of security, but like we didn't envision necessarily to have something that like so that people cannot go through. I mean, I don't think there's going to be barricades or any sorts about.
If you've got 100 people on Main Street, people who live on Church Street can't get onto Main Street.
Maybe we can organize with volunteers to just make you cross. I mean, we don't envision anything too strict about like blocking completely the street. So I'm happy to work it out. And also, as soon as we go down, we'll clear it out. So I would say for each street, and before we go down, the streets will be clear in that sense.
Well, you're going as soon as you get onto Main Street.
Yeah.
When you leave St. Mary's Lawn, you're on Main Street.
Yes.
So people will not be able to go east on Main Street. They'll be unable to head up the hill.
On the sidewalks? No.
On the sidewalk, the cars.
Cars. I mean, okay.
I'm-
Sorry. Yeah.
car,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
worried
No,
about-
because that's why I got
Yeah.
confused. Okay.
Yeah, that's,
Can we trim the streets? I mean, can we have traffic going out towards Norwell or towards,
you still have to.
I think we should talk to Larry. I'm not concerned about this. I'm not, because I talked to Larry last time and we said we could do this. If we do have people, I mean, if we know how long it's gonna be, it's not gonna be 2 hours.
40 minutes.
They're not gonna be 40 minutes at one place. They're not gonna be 40 minutes at Church Street. How long is it gonna take to get past Church Street?
What he just said is it's gonna take 40 minutes to get from St. Mary's to the bottom of Main Street
Right,
before
yeah.
they turn onto London
Yeah.
Road. So that's 40 minutes.
Right, but that's not 40 minutes where they're gonna be, that's not the whole, the procession's not gonna be at Church Street for 40 minutes. It's only one block down from,
2 blocks from St.
I'm
Mary's.
2 blocks down, yes, I know the streets
I-
also. I don't find it a problem. They're being held hostage every weekend that they're here.
No, they're not.
Pretty much they are. We have parades. We have events all the time that I don't feel are gonna inconvenience. I think it's gonna be a celebration, and it's gonna be an hour, 40 minutes.
I think I agree with you that it's going to be a celebration. We have a parade on Memorial Day weekend, which is at 9 o'clock in the morning.
And what do those people do when they're in their streets?
Not terribly.
What are they doing? They're caught there, and how many complaints have we got? How many complaints during 4th of July do we have when we have that
At
parade?
that time of day, on Memorial Day, it's not really a big problem.
This is at 12:30.
12:30 to 3 o'clock.
Right, yes, well, with an hour at least down at the bandstand, then they're not gonna be on the street for that whole time.
So, I mean,
Okay.
give us some way so that people can get out of Church Street and go about whatever errands they have to do on a Saturday.
Well, I would say if I was on Church Street and the parade was going down there, Church Street could be turned one way, the other way, and they can all go to Northern Avenue. Or, if the parade's stopping, we can, if there are volunteers, we can have them go across through Furnace Street.
So-
Or when we get down on the other end, we can definitely work out where
So-
people will go.
So if we have a way to get people out of Church, Garden, Rockstone, the one-way streets.
You know, we
then-
can plan the stops with you so that we know if there's a specific intersection that you wanna clear out. I mean, this is really, you know,
Really,
we're
Larry-
very flexible about this.
I can.
Larry has some great ideas already.
Yeah, like I already stated, we could, as long as I have enough volunteers, even just my guys, the police officers or other volunteers, I can make it work. I can open up a street to let 2 cars out in the middle of, just give me a set, I can work with them, if they're performing right there. It may be a minute or a minute and a half wait, and then I can just guide the car right across from, say, Church Courts, to the other side, or up north to get them off over the furnace and out. The other ways down below, when they are coming down, push people through Forge Gate, or I can have them come over, before they get to Long Terrace, come over Long Terrace, go past the depot, up that way, cross it, and then go out
Railroad Avenue,
that way.
cross the street.
So those are the 2 ways I can get them from Lower Main. Once they're on Lung, Lower Main will have to be shut
I'm
down.
not worried about.
I can make it work.
Okay.
I leave it to you guys. There may be a minute or 2 of inconvenience for somebody.
Minute or 2 doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't see it being a long period of time. And like I said, worst case scenario, I can make it work.
Okay.
Again, with enough officers or volunteers.
We'll
I'm
work
sure-
it out,
I'm
like
sure.
the number of volunteers
Yeah.
you need. We have all our staff and other people who want to participate.
I don't think it'll be a problem.
Steve, any?
No. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited. I'm just bummed I won't be able to see it.
Why not?
I have to work all day.
Well, you'll see it. No, I mean,
No,
because
I'm-
you're. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just.
Different town.
I know. No, I know. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll videotape.
Yeah.
Also, we have great. You know, you can read about it.
Is this gonna be a rain or shine event?
It is. It is, and you know, because of the nature of the event, we will proceed with or without, but we cancel if there's any extreme condition.
I'll make a motion to approve the closed event by Magazino, Italian Art.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, we have a few more things on our agenda tonight. Next is Garden Street paving bid. We had 1 bid that came in, it was high. There was other people that said they would have done it for a lesser amount after the fact. The only bidder was Van Etten, and our engineers went back to the contractor and told them the situation. They felt there's a few things they could reduce the price by, a few things they could do to reduce the price. So in this letter we received from P&D, there's a reduction of $16,000. which brings the total to 135,935.05. There are future, further savings possibly. Jason feels confident that we might be able to knock another 14,000 off of that because of the amount of paving, whatever that he included, that he doesn't feel we really needed. So that would bring it down to 121. But that's just that's a maybe. The number that they would come up with a contract and bond for would be the 135,934.05. So if we would like to move this forward,
We were going to get more information on the street closure.
oh, the street closed. Yes, I met with him. Sorry, the street wouldn't totally be closed. They would have flagmen. They suggested from 7 o'clock in the morning. Like that they would start work, and then so people could park there the night before. People could be on the streets, until 7 o'clock in the morning, and then they would be done work at 6 o'clock. And after 6 o'clock, people could come back on the streets and be on the street again. They said I brought up that there were a few people, definitely one that might need to get out at any given time, and they said that wasn't a problem, that they would have people working with it, flagmen or whatever that would, assist anyone out that had to get out, that needed to get out.
And get back in again.
And get back in again.
Okay.
They said they just really needed it to be shut so that it's not continual, traffic coming through.
But then it's not an issue with parking a car on the street, off the street. It's just that they need to be able to
Right,
get out
exactly.
of the driveway.
Yes.
So local traffic is,
Yeah.
residential traffic is fine.
Well, residential, no, it'll be cut off
No, I mean,
during the work hours.
right, but you're able to come and go
If you
prior
have-
to and after.
Yes.
And if you're at your house,
If you need to get out, they'll get you out.
they will get you out.
Yeah, it's not like they're closing and nobody in, nobody out.
Right.
So one of the things that, sorry, I know you're going to vote on this. One of the things that we need to do is to alert the residents.
Yes.
I have a question on the other part of that 16,519 reduction is reducing the pavement removal from 3 feet to 1 foot. That sounds like a lot. and
All right,
I'm
so let
not-
me explain that, because I
Yeah.
thought the same, didn't understand that. This is for the curbs.
Mhm.
So they cut I think in the specs, they're bringing out to 3 feet, is that right?
Yeah.
Whatever they had in the specs, I think it was 3 feet, that they were cutting away from the curb and cutting down to put the curbs in, so they could pour the curbs. So they said that they can use, different machine, different hoe, whatever, and just do a foot away from it
Oh, it's not-
instead of
it's not
3 feet.
depth that they're clearing.
No, it's still
We're
width.
reducing it by
Yeah.
2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said it's the width.
It's coming off the curb 3 feet is what they were gonna have to dig down. They were gonna dig down to put the curbs in, when they were installing the curbs before pavement.
So they're down 3 feet and.
Not down,
Out.
Out.
Away from the curb.
so if this is your curb here,
Yeah.
you're coming out, they were coming out 3 feet and digging this whole section down to put the curbs in. But now, they're only coming out a foot and digging down.
Okay.
So it's,
They're putting the same
What?
curve.
So what are they gonna do about the gutter? That's one of my other issues there.
the gutters are all gonna stay the same. Everything's basically gonna be the same. They're gonna try to cut the crown as much as they can down, because if they start cutting that down too much, then they have to cut down even further to put a base.
Yeah, because there are 2 areas on the street where there's no curb now.
There is a little bit of a curve.
A lip.
Well, that's what a lot have, and depending on how the sidewalk is. I brought both
Both sites.
sites up to them, especially down at the end, and, they're aware of that. So the whole street will get milled,
Yeah.
cut down. Where the curb, before they do that, there's sections of curb that have to be done. They'll come out 3 feet, dig that down, whatever they have to dig, put the curbs in, then compact the soil, and then pave the whole street. And also, they're adding ADA ramps on the corners. They have to do that they're there right now, but they'll be doing new ones on the Northern Avenue side. And the storm drains are right there, so they're gonna, they have to adjust those and work on those to make those work better.
Okay, there's ADAs on the south side of the street, right?
Is that gonna have any effect on the project on Northern Avenue that we need to do for
No.
drainage?
No, it's down from there. Yeah, not at all. We're not even, they're not going out at all, or hardly at all into Northern Avenue. Just enough to make the work on the two storm drains there.
So you only need 4 days for that job, huh?
I think so.
That's what they're saying here.
Yeah.
It's a long day.
Yeah, that is a long day.
It's a lot of work.
11-hour day. No, that's a surprising length of a day. I'm guessing that they're paying overtime?
Yes, they would have to, unless they just do a consolidated week.
I mean, so when we say they're paying overtime, we're paying overtime?
Well, if we get the price we get.
But yet they're cutting the price because we're doing it 4 days instead of, I guess, 7, or whatever it would have been.
I think it'll go faster than you think.
I think that's what it sounds like they're thinking too.
I mean, I assume this is like a Monday through Thursday or Tuesday.
And I think the, probably some of the work's just gonna be sidewalks. I don't think they're gonna shut the street off for those days. So if they're gonna be working on a section of sidewalk, it's not the whole street, there'll be, maybe a adult flagman there, and they'll be working on that on those days. And the days that need to be shut down will be when they bring the machines in to mill the whole thing, and then the following day to, pave it.
Do you know what's the square footage of sidewalks that they're doing?
With that?
Do you have any idea of what the square footage of sidewalks is
No,
that
I
they're
don't.
doing?
I think it's all, he has a breakdown, I don't.
It's on the back of this page.
Next to the fire
I
hydrant.
don't know, but he has a.
Watch out for that for
Bollards.
And that's one area he thinks that we're gonna be not using what he, put in the
Yeah,
spec.
I didn't think the sidewalks were bad.
There's a section by, as you come down on the left where there's a parking area, first parking area on the left.
Ethan Rockmore's.
Right, the sidewalk there is in need of repair, so we're gonna repair that. I think the area that we're taking that one tree down that's across the street from Shannon and Jeff's, the Keegan's house, it's right in front of the parking. It's this butchered sweet gum tree that's on a strip of green that's probably 2 feet wide. They're huge trees. So I talked to Jen about that. We have to take that down, and that'll need to be repaired there.
Is that part of this project that they're gonna take the tree down?
I don't know. The tree's 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But then the stump.
Taking down the tree. Remember the bats?
Oh yeah. I don't think this is a bat type tree.
It's
Well, we won't
any
take
tree.
it down. We'll work around it.
It'll die.
That's okay. It's gonna die.
I understand.
The bats will fall.
Do you know whether or not they're gonna be doing the curb machine?
The curb
The
machine.
curb machine.
I don't have any idea how they'll do the curves.
The curb machine is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Where's gonna have a curb machine party? When are they gonna do this?
I don't think it'll be till beginning of October, maybe the earliest.
Soon.
It's only a few weeks away. They have to bond and do whatever else they have to do. That's about it.
Time to vote. We didn't vote yet, did we?
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to award the bid to Van Etten, I guess it's Van Etten Contracting LLC, for the amount, the adjusted amount of $135,934.05.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a couple of quick things here left. Approval of bills.
Okay. I move to approve batch of bills, number 5281, for a total amount of $71,000, $71,111.14.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Lastly, we have approval of minutes, trustee workshop meeting 8/27/2019. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? This is the one we changed and didn't approve. Thank you, Michael, for your work on this, and Ruby, Fran. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see. I think that's it for public comment.
Are you replacing sidewalks as part of this Garden Street thing, or just repairing spots?
We're replacing sections, but not a lot, smaller sections. Not the
Curbs.
whole. Curbs and sidewalks.
Correct, curbs, too.
Wherever they're in need of being repaired, they'll be repaired. But it's not, definitely not the whole. I don't think there's anything on the west, east side that I can think of. There's a section on the corner of Northern, coming around the corner on the north, eastern side, probably on the northwestern, or on the northwestern side. And I think there's still one, I should start down. Anyway, yes. And the two storm drains are gonna be replaced and repaid at the end, so that's a substantial amount. Anything else? Motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor? Thank you all.
Yes.
Oh, we missed that.
Yeah, see? Too late.